All right, so I think next up we're going to move on to the World of Gethra wiki. I did finally figure out how to get my images displaying properly, so I've got our Knaves Guild logo there along with the information you guys saw from last time. Awesome. Now, I think Bobicus, of course, you already had your turn playing a character in the form of He Who Basks in Radiance. There we are. And we'll come back and do more on him at some point as well. But I think it would be nice if Ammon has tuned in a couple times now. Did you, Ammon, want to create a character within the lore of Gethra? We can have a new persona within history. Open up my timeline here too. I think I still need to add on some more of the details that we had from last time, but I'll update that at some point. It would be funny to have a character. Sweet. We're also going to open up our randomizer. So this is kind of our role table that we're using for figuring out things that are outside of the control of the characters. So, you know, if it's what is your character going to do with their money? Yeah, I think, well, and the magic in Gethra is not quite as, you know, there's not other realms or dimensions, and there's not, you know, summoning people that way. So there's a few different things that wouldn't really fit with the idea you had for Ammon exactly. But we can come up with a new character. We could use some of what you've talked about as inspiration for him, or we can come up with something totally new. It's up to you. But then it'll be there on the wiki for anyone who wants to check it out, and maybe it'll be relevant to understanding what happened in the history of Gethra. Nice, I got a follower here on the World Anvil too. All right, we also changed our editor here in order to avoid some of the errors we were running into the last time. It'll look a little bit more technical while we're editing it, but hopefully that won't hold us back. So, Aeon Issetar, if you'd like, per se, but is a conversation. Yeah. Yeah, so there's definitely not anything like that with mirrors and portals and stuff like that. At least not commonly within Gethra. And I think for now we're not going to delve into that quite yet. But he could be some sort of information merchant or a spy of some kind. He could be perhaps a powerful syndicate leader who is, you know, amassed all this information and can trade it out to people, you know, for the right deal and the right cost. It could even be very dangerous to contact him if you wanted. We could say that it's like making a deal with the devil in the way that you would need to, you know, be sure that you want that information before you contact. But again, if you'd like, we can also just come up with a totally new character. Maybe he's, yeah, there you go, a Master of Secrets. Sure, let's work off of that. So do you think that he would be... I'm imagining he's an independent power, right? He doesn't work for a king. He's not the spy master for a king or an emperor. He's his own master. And you have to decide if you want to barter with him or not, right? Just going to look into one thing first here. All right. His ends at the end. Yeah, exactly. A D is a deal. Yep, that makes sense. Okay, so let's say then, would you like to keep that name for this character, or do you want to come up with a different name? Well, my only concern there is that, Gethra is kind of separate from our world's mythology, so I don't know that I want to keep all of that. What if we made it a name that sounded similar but was a little bit more in fitting with Gethra's kind of lingo and dialogue? Would that be okay with you, Aeon Issetar? Sweet. Okay, so what if he is Alon? Sounds too much like Al. Alan. Let me just play around with some different sounds and names. How about Adon? Aeon. Yeah, Aeon's kind of cool. How about Issetar? Aeon Issetar. Let me know what you think of that. Aeon works as a powerful information broker, a master of secrets. So we also need to then figure out some basic kind of descriptive details about him. So let's see here. Copy that over. All right, so let's figure out, again, if he's relevant in the 700 to 800 year period, years since Orish 700 to 800. Then we need to figure out which year was he born. So we'll put in a randomizer. And we'll say this is somewhere between 670 and 710 that he's born. 681. And if you like, you can decide when he was born during the year, or we can roll dice for that too and randomize that. There's 30 days in a month, so you need to choose a number between 1 and 30, and 12 months, just like our calendar. He loves sweets. Great. Let's put that in a bio section here. Off-putting to those who deal with this dangerous man is Aeon's love of sweets. He is often seen with treats and pastries to satisfy his sweet tooth. Second of the 11th moon. Awesome. 681. Tea and sweets are always on the table. That sounds good. He greets those who seek him out with tea and sweets. All right. So I'm curious, how do you think Aeon started out in this role? Or should that remain vague and perhaps a mystery of how he came into such a powerful role? Oops. Is 681, I think we oh, right. Nope. Cool. Yeah, sounds good. So then instead, let's figure out how old he was, or not even how old he was, but during what year did he first start kind of popping up as someone you would go to for information. So he was born in 681, so I think he would be at least 20 before he establishes himself as his fearful role. So let's do 695, anywhere up to, let's say he ends up living, well, we don't know how long he'll live yet, but it could be anywhere through the, 750 range. All right, so 726. Aeon early accounts of Aeon dealing in powerful information exchange. Go, and we'll drop that into Aeon Issetar's thing. There we go. We can also figure out if we make him a character here. I should be setting some of the stuff up for the other characters that we've done recently, but we'll add in a new character. That is Aeon Issetar, which at one time I was going to alphabetize this list, but anyway. And he is born in 769. That's not right. 681. So he knows how to extend life longer than people would naturally live, or? Ooh. Let's move this a little earlier. He's a little old by this point. Yeah, sure, Aeon Ishtar, but I'm just curious what you think of, like, did he, um, are you thinking that he's able to live longer than normal people? Just to make sure I'm understanding your messages right. Awesome. So if you're new here, okay, yeah, we can let's put that on a randomizer and we'll see what we end up with, because I think that that's a pretty powerful thing to be able to choose for yourself. Of course, many people have sought to live longer than than their natural lifespan. So I think we'll leave that up to chance a little bit. We'll just roll the dice on that in a second here. If you're new showing up to the channel, I'm Nick with the Knaves Guild. And we are working on an interactive world building kind of game setting. And so we actually have a wiki here. If you check out, my world anvil, it's linked down in the about description. There's a wiki button. You can click it and it'll take you right there. And my users here, my viewers here on the channel are able to interact with me and actually come up with these characters within this world in order to flesh out the history and the events that led to these stories. If you're interested, always just pop in, say hello. You can hit follow if you want, show up whenever, and maybe you'll get to play a character in the world too. Okay, so let's figure out, did Aeon discover a way to live longer than normal humans? In this version, he uses this myth about him to lure people to him and put them to the test. Ah, interesting. So whether it's true or not, he can still use this idea that he supposedly lives longer than people normally do. So let's add in there. He is onto something, but hasn't figured it out yet. All right, so I think, unfortunately, it's fairly unlikely that he does discover how to live longer, but we could add in some options here that will see what happens. And either way, he could use misinformation about his lifespan to his advantage and become a bit of a myth in that regard. There we are, so 6. He is onto something but hasn't figured it out yet. So he may be able to discover during his lifetime something about living longer, but he hasn't yet. So let's fill this in on the wiki here. The other thing I think I'm going to change for you is I randomized when people started hearing about him as a powerful information broker. But that has him at 88 years old, which is fairly old to come into your prime element. So let's actually re-roll that. So we'll say somewhere between 720 and 750. 748. So it does want him to be a little past his prime, perhaps. But maybe that's something that he curated this reputation as being around forever. Oops, that's the wrong way. 748. I don't know what is happening with my timeline here. 748. There we go. So yes, he's 67. Okay. We'll note that he's spread some unsavory rumors about his power. By 748, Aeon was working as a powerful information broker, a master of secrets, using legends from the past. He has also spread rumors that he is able to live longer than normal humans by sapping their strength. We'll say using legends from the past, including a similarly named folklore character. He has also spread rumors. This adds to his dangerous reputation. I think I like the idea, though, that if he's a powerful and dangerous information broker and a master of secrets, I think he would want people to be a little uneasy when they come and deal with him. So I kind of like the idea that he, is kind of spread these rumors that he's like this is how maybe vampire myths started, right? Stuff like that. So. Cool. Okay, I think we'll save that for now. So if you check on the wiki, you should be able to find that. Let me just categorize it into the right spot. So it's in world characters, and we're in the 700 to 800 year period. There we are. We'll come back and add more onto his life. We don't know what he accomplishes with this information empire. Oh yeah, okay, that's a good. Let me note then just a little bit about that. I do like the idea that he uses this to test people and glean information about them as well. So he uses this reputation and these stories to test those who come to him and glean information about them. There you go. All right. Bobicus, are you still out there? If you'd like, we can add on a few more details for he who basks in radiance. Maybe Bobicus had to go, though. We'll see what he if he responds. Like I said, though, guys, I'll be on again later tonight. Might be a little too late for you, Aeon Issetar, but we'll continue doing some more of this world building. I'd like to start seeing some of this. Right now, we've just kind of created these characters, but I'd like to see what did they do during their life, and that will give us an idea of what happened during this time period. Of course, we know about this religion that he founded, so let me actually start linking that up too. So we want Slither religion, copy link to that. I'm going to drop that in. Now let's just make sure that now that we're using this code editor, that worked the way we wanted it to. Awesome. Cool. All right. I can't remember if we had found out. Let's see here. $788. Yeah, so let's add that on. We didn't have that on his page yet. We're going to say contributed heavily to a Slither religion. Oops. Across many years of his life. And by 788, this was common. So let's drop he who basks in radiance onto the timeline as well. If you're wondering about his name, it is because he is a slither, a snake person, living in the deserts of the expanse within Gethra. And we know that he who basks was born on the 15th of the 6th moon, 734. So let's fill that in. Let me get that again. 15th of the 6th moon, 634. Let's see, 15. No, there's no elves. I prefer to make up my own races for this setting. $634, not $734. So there is the slithers. There's also a kind of primate race called Primals. And Primals are kind of like the missing link. Like, they're more intelligent than any monkeys or primates or apes. But they are, they've got fire and they've got rudimentary tools and shelter, but they don't have any, they don't have language or any of the really important things that will make a society. So they're kind of just out in the wilds, and sometimes they're a problem, and sometimes they're just out there. Maybe they're a bit of a nuisance to some cities or towns. So there's the Primals, and then there's the Slithers. Yeah. If you check on the Wiki, if you said lizard sounds interesting, well, I've actually written a little page about them on the Wiki there, where we talk about the fact that they don't have voice boxes, which makes communicating with them hard. Because snakes, of course, they communicate through hisses and clicks and stuff. That's not possible for humans to mimic. So it makes communication with the Slithers very hard, and keeps them kind of mysterious in some ways to the humans. So. All right, and we know that 788 Slytherin temples become common. And that is 788. Oops, I think. Oh yeah, that is a long time. Wonder if we messed that up yesterday when we were working on it. Oh, that's too bad. Well, I'm part of a D&D campaign, but we play online, so fortunately we don't have that problem. But it is sad when that kind of thing is disrupted. Someone moves away from your group. So I think maybe we'll keep this, and we'll note that this is kind of an effect lasting after his life. And by 788, after his life, interesting, yeah. And by 788, after his life, this was common. There we go. So I think we'll change that to, this will be a, let's see. We're going to need to add a new category in there, looks like. I haven't been using this version of Aeon Timelines for quite as long, so here we are, data types. There we are. So we want to add in here, let's see. I think we want to add in expanse and scale lands. I'll make that color something that's deserty, perhaps a lighter beige like that. Okay, so I'll make this one part of the expanse and scale lands zone. Oh hey, Babacus, yes, we're just adding He Who Basks in Radiance onto the timeline again. I won't be on for too much longer, so I was going to work on more details with him, but I think we will maybe have to leave that for the next time. Figure out more about what happened during his life. I did notice yesterday that when we figured out when the work that he was doing becomes commonplace among the religion is actually quite a bit longer than he likely would live. That's like over 150 years later. So I think it will be that he set in motion these things that led to this huge change in his religion. But I think that it would have still been noticeable during his lifetime, of course. It's just this is when the history books noted, well, what he was doing back then, really mattered.